Greetings everyone, and I hope the collecting gods are smiling on you all. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Dark Furyan 2.0 version, aka Riddick, aka Vin Deisel, from the 2013 V2.0 directed movie Riddick. The review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then it'll be down onto the table for a look at all the accessories that come with the figure, then it will be out with the Furyan on himself, onto the stand and onto the turntable for a close-up look, and then we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual showcase at the end. But before we get into it, some shout-outs and background. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. Your support has been amazing, and I mean that genuinely. And to all those who are watching our content but not subscribing, please turn that view into a subscribe. It's your subscriptions that keep us going here at Go Figure, and it would be massively appreciated. As I mentioned before, when we hit 1,000 subs, we'll be having a 1/6 scale figure giveaway, so stay tuned for that. And I'd also like to say a massive thank you to William Wang, as always, over at One Man's Hobby for sourcing me this figure. There'll be a link to his website in the description below. Please check it out for anything statue related, 1/6 scale related. Get in touch with him. I'm sure he'll be able to help you out. So, this figure. Now, for the uninitiated, the character of Riddick first appeared in the 2000 movie Pitch Black, and it introduced us to the night vision Furyan himself. This was followed by the Chronicles of Riddick in 2004, and finally just Riddick in 2013. If rumour is to be believed, Riddick 4 Furya is currently in pre-production, with Vin Deisel set to reprise his role in front of the camera and V2.0 behind the camera. In my opinion, the three movies are definitely worth seeking out, with Pitch Black being the best. The sequel's losing something and in attempting to make a bigger canvas, but definitely worth a view, all three of them, and they've attained somewhat of a cult status. So, Art Figures released a version of Riddick from the Chronicles of Riddick about 8 or 9 years ago. There'll be a link to the review of that figure at the end of this video. This new figure, though, I believe it's been marketed as a 2.0 version. Now, I'm assuming it's a 2.0 version of a figure they made of Riddick from the movie Riddick prior to the last figure that they made of this character. And yes, that is as confusing to say it is as it is to think about. I'm going with this figure being a 2.0 version of the figure from the movie Riddick. If I've got that wrong, I apologise. Please feel free to correct me in the comment section below. But that's enough of an old man's confusion. On to the box. It's what we've come to expect from Art Figures. It's a magnetically clasped box, relatively straightforward. Let's stop it spinning so we can take a look at it. It's monochrome, it's pretty much black and white, what you've got on the front here, and it's a very hard and substantial card, this box, good quality. What it says is the Dark Furyan 2.0 at the top here. What you've got is a sort of a white picture of the armour itself on the front, and this is what leads me to believe it is a 2.0 version of the figure from Riddick, the movie, because this is the armour that he's wearing at the beginning of the movie, not the armour that you see in the Chronicles of Riddick, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. What we've got at the bottom here is 1/6 scale collectible figure. Around the side it says the Dark Furyan, and there's that symbol again. On this side, the Dark Furyan, again, on the back here, all the usual warnings and credits and so on. If you're wanting to check those out, please hit pause. Yeah, warnings at the bottom here. Don't piss this figure off, or it might kill you with its teacup. Anything on the top? No, nothing there, and nothing on the bottom. As I said, this is magnetically clasped, and we'll just open this up. It's still sealed, as the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed. Brand new in this figure, only just arrived and gone straight in front of the camera. So it's a voyage of discovery for all of us. But yeah, we'll just try and break this seal. Yep, on camera, so we can take a look at what we've got inside. I have to be careful here because I don't want the contents to fall out. But yeah, what we've got on the inside there is, we'll move this turntable out of the way so we can get a proper look at this. So yeah, on the inside here, you've got this sort of stylized picture of what looks like the figure itself. Yeah, pretty certain that's the figure. It says the Dark Furyan again there, the Dark Furyan at the top, and you've got this foam cover, and underneath that foam cover is the figure itself. and the hand's just fallen out. But yeah, what we'll do next is what we always do. We will dive down to the table, get all those accessories out of that box, and dive down to the table and have a close-up look at them. Okay, so here we are, down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Dark Furyan figure, aka Riddick. Well, not technically all accessories. The vast majority of what we're looking at here are pieces of armour, but they do come. The figure does come disassembled. This armour isn't actually attached to the figure when it comes straight out of the box. I thought we'd take a look at it in this section, but we'll do what we always do. We'll start with the hands. You know me and my hands. There's a pair on the figure and another 3 pairs here, so you've got 4 pairs of hands in total of 8 hands, so a good variety. Let's pick one at random. We've got 2 fisted hands here, 2 gripping hands, 2 open palm. Let's have a look at one of the open palm hands. Get this into camera here so we can see it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The paint applications look nice. There's more than one paint application there to give it that skin tone texture and colour. There is vein work in there. There is visible bone structure. We've got creasing on the knuckles there. There are picked out fingernails. There's also creasing in the palm of the hands. Yeah, pretty good hands overall. There are some visible seams in there, but they are very, very slight, minor niggle. You can barely see them. But what all the hands do have is this blood effect, this spattered blood effect, which is quite nicely done. And as I say, it continues through all the hands themselves. So that's an open palm hand. Let's take a quick look at one of the fisted hands. Same story here. Same level of paint application, same level of detailing, so that's good to see. Let's take a look at a gripping hand. Now, there is some variance here, and I have noticed this. The gripping hands themselves are more of a medium, but a medium to soft, so good for gripping accessories. The open palm hands are even more of a soft plastic, so but it's good to see. Working with this figure, with the accessories, hopefully isn't going to involve a hairdryer or hot water. So yeah, pretty good hands, so we're off to a good start. Let's put those to one side and crack on. Also as well, if I can pick these hands up, you get the obligatory 2 spare wrist pegs, but also in this bag, I'm not sure if you can see this here, you get 2 spare magnets, and that'll become apparent why you have magnets in there when we get onto the armour sections. So yeah, let's take a look at the armour. 2 shoulder pads. Now these are all sculpted plastic. They are sculpted in a very pliable, soft plastic, which is nice to see because if we turn them over, and you can see it's marked with an R there, and got right and left shoulder pads, they are magnetically attached to the figure. They're also magnetically attached to each other. Now I think most collectors at some point will have come across a figure where you have magnetically attached pieces of plastic, and a lot of the time the plastic is so rigid that the piece itself just struggles to stay attached. But I'm glad to see they've used this much softer, more pliable plastic. Let's take a look at the paint applications, and they are pretty good. This is, creating that metal effect quite well. What you've got here are multiple paint washes. There's some dry brushing on there. There are scratches that are sculpted in. There are dinks on the edges and dints, which are picked out with the paint applications. There are sort of there's some almost purpley hues in there. There's almost a patina green, barely visible patina green in there as well. And both sections of shoulder armour have got that blood spatter effect as well, just like the hands. So yeah, that's the right one. I'll bring the left one into shot. Now the left one is actually slightly darker. Now, I'm not 100% certain whether that's screen accurate. I don't want to get back into that conversation about whether this is Chronicles of Riddick or Riddick armour. I'm going on the fact that it appears briefly at the beginning of Riddick. But it gives it that contrast, having slightly dark, one slightly darker, and also as well the sculpt is slightly different on this. The dints and the scratches and the imperfections in the shoulder pad itself, like there's almost an entire section missing there, are different. There's more wear on this one, but yeah, just slightly darker washes of paint on there, and it's also finished off with that blood spatter effect as well, and obviously marked with left on the inside there. So yeah, those are your shoulder pads. Let's take a look at the shin guards. Now, the shin guards, once again, all sculpted plastic. Now these are slightly stiffer than the shoulder pads, but that's probably just down to the thickness of them. Once again, all sculpted plastic. We'll take a look at these one at a time. Movie accurate, most certainly. That pattern. I revisited the film and took a look at some stills as well. Heavier with the patina sort of green paint on these. But yeah, the sculpt is really, really nice. Once again, it has that metallic look, quite convincing metallic look, and some really, really nice detailing and paint applications. And the sculpt is really good, and most certainly gives that impression of metal, although sculpted in plastic. And once again, blood spatters on there. The colours are slightly different on these two, if the camera's catching this in this light. One is slightly more gold, has slightly less patina. I like the fact that these don't match 100%. It gives it, I just think it gives a figure that extra depth when it's not just simply mirrored. So yep, those are the shin guards. You've got the shoulder braces that go over the biceps, and again it's the same story here, same plastic sculpt. The paint applications are really nice. We'll get these right into camera. Once again, one is slightly more patina than the other. There's a variance in paint applications, but the sculpt is good. Screen accurate. It's got that almost Art Deco feel that the armour has in the movie itself. And yeah, once again, blood spatter on there, and just really nicely done. So that's the bicep guards, and finally the braces themselves. That go on the forearms, and once again it's the same story here. Nice sculpt, screen accurate. I'll try and get these right into camera so you can see them. Nice paint applications, and that blood spatter is there as well. So yeah, that's all the pieces of the armour. Quick look at his goggles. It comes with these goggles. Now these are all sculpted plastic. I remember having some issues with my my Riddick figure that we reviewed on the channel with getting these on and off, and these are quite delicate, so I would exercise caution if you're picking this figure up. But the actual sculpt itself is very, very accurate, because there was a change in the goggles between films, between the original Pitch Black. In Pitch Black, there was no detailing on these goggles; they were just black goggles. But here they've actually replicated the detailing that's present in the film, and you can see it in the sculpt there. And there's some nice washing on here to give it that worn look, with some dry brushing on there to pick out the details. But yeah, all one piece of sculpted plastic, so I would say if you are picking this figure up, exercise caution. And there are a few little pieces of plastic maybe that have come out of the mould when these were made that might need trimming off, but no issues, no major issues there. So, but yeah, as I mentioned, exercise caution with these. I'd imagine these are going to be delicate. So put those to one side. Let's take a look at his knives. Once again, all one piece of sculpted plastic. There's no metal here. Now, this once again puts me in doubt of which film they're referencing here. These are actually the Necromonger's knives, and it's Necromonger armor, which puts me more in mind of the Chronicles of Riddick. But I believe this is meant to be from Riddick itself. But I'm not going down that rabbit hole again. But yeah, very, very nicely sculpted in plastic. You've got some dry brushing on there. I'll try and get this right into shot. Once again, there's some blood spatter effect at the end of the knife there, which is really nice. The detailing is great on the handle. You've got sort of the dark grey paint application there, and then it's more weathered in the hilt area. But yeah, screen accurate and very, very nicely done. You get two of those, and you get two of the smaller knives as well. We'll try and get one of these into shot. These are quite fiddly, these, but I'll try and get this into shot so you can see it. Once again, nicely sculpted. The silver paint application there to replicate metal is really nice. Some dry brushing in the detailing at the end of the knife there, and once again topped off with that nice blood effect paintwork. So that's two of those. And finally, it's the stand itself. Let's have a look at this stand. Now, I do like this stand. Straight out of the box, I was impressed with this stand. All one piece of sculpted plastic. We'll start on the bottom. You've got some felt padded feet there, which is good to see. So that will minimise movement on the shelf or in the detail on whatever surface you put it on. What struck me as well straight away, and it's going to open up that argument again for me about which film this is supposed to be coming from. Maybe it's a mixture of the two. This base puts me in mind of the Necromonger style, that Art Deco look, but it's all one piece of sculpted plastic. You've got this sort of bone effect at the top here. The dry brushing and paint washes on here are really, really nice to pick out the details, and I think it's just it's a very, very nice base. I'm trying to cast my mind back to the base that came with the other Riddick figure I've got, and I'm struggling to remember what it looked like, so whether it actually came with one at all. But this is really, really nice. You've got this metal nameplate at the front. It says the Dark Furyan 2.0. It's nice to see metal used in that nameplate. But overall, yeah, a really, really nice base, and I think I would actually use this in the display. So yeah, props to art figures there on the base. Comes with a standard issue crotch grabber, which simply slots in place there. Yeah, there you have it. That's your stand, and a very nice stand it is too. So that's all the accessories that come with your Dark Furyan figure. So without further ado, let's bring out the man himself. Let's bring out Riddick. Let's get him on the stand, get him onto the turntable, and have a look at what he's all about. Okay, so here he is. It's Riddick himself, straight out of the box, straight onto the stand, straight onto the turntable, and first impressions. First impressions are pretty good. The proportions look spot on. The outfit looks screen accurate to me. The head sculpt looks pretty good, but we'll come to that. Yeah, there's a few things there that are worthy of note, but we'll get to those. But first impressions are pretty good. Let's stop him from spinning and do as we always do. We'll take a close-up look at him. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We'll get him off the stand. One issue that did come out of getting him onto the stand was that this crotch grabber doesn't actually fit in very well. It just falls out. But I mean, that's a quick fix and a minor complaint. But overall, pretty good first impressions. But yeah, as I say, let's start at the bottom, and we'll get him off this stand, and it'll probably bring the crotch grabber with it. But yeah, not to worry. We'll put that we'll put that back into the stand. It will go in, and we'll get this guy closer into shot. Now, let's start at the bottom with these boots. Now, I believe these boots are pegged straight into the ankle joint here. They're sculpted plastic. It's the same sort of. I'll try and get this closer into shot. It's the same sort of quality as the armor itself. It's made out of that same soft, pliable plastic. It's got the same design, which I believe is screen accurate. Looks screen accurate to me. There's some weathering on there and the dry brushing on there to create give it that metallic look. The quality of the paint applications is really nice on here. You've got some grips on soles underneath the feet here, which have been dry brushed as well for that added authenticity. So when you're posing him with legs in the air, it looks convincing as well. Moving up to the actual pants themselves. Now these pants are made out of a nylon material. The bottom section is anyway. This black section is full nylon, and there's some weathering on there, which is nice to see as well. There's some they've really dirtied up the bottom of these pants quite well, so it's good to see the weathering on there. But the stitch work on the nylon is good. It feels like a good quality nylon, and it looks screen accurate. Coming up, it feels like we've got a different type of nylon that goes up the thigh area, which has got this stripe in it. Once again, it's been weathered, and I believe that stripe is screen accurate. I revisited the film recently, and it looks screen accurate to me. And there's some dry brushing on there to weather it. There's even some blood spatters on there as well. We'll bring it round to the back, and you can see that the actual weathering is continued there. The stitch work is very nice, good six scale stitch work. As we know, when the stitch work is bad, it throws the proportions off of the whole figure. And the figure's got some heft to it as well. It's a heavy figure. It's a solid, hard plastic that this body's made out of, and it's got some real weight to it as well. But yeah, moving up to the armor. The armor is made out of that same soft, pliable plastic as the other sections of the armor. We're going to do this in two sections, actually. We'll take an up-close look at him like this, and then we will attach all the armor and have a look at him fully kitted out. But yeah, we'll lift these arms up, and the same quality of sculpt on this plastic armor section around the waist here, and I believe this is layered. Yeah, there's multiple layers here of plastic. It's not all one piece of sculpted plastic. There are different layers and levels, and it's got that same nice paint application on there. There's scratching on there. There's almost a patina to it. This was something that did worry me straight out of the box, that maybe it was too patina and it was too green. I did, as I say, I've revisited both films, the Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick itself, sort of in preparation for this review, and it did strike me as having a more a darker blue, but there was some variation, because I don't think this armour appeared in the Chronicles of Riddick. It was only at the beginning of Riddick, but once again, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But overall, yeah, the sculpt is really, really nice. There's blood spatter effect all over the armour in various places in this sort of crotch section here, all the way up the front of this detailed chest piece. And once again, this chest piece is sculpted plastic as well. That same soft pliable sculpted plastic. No pleather to be seen anywhere on this figure, which is a relief. Sculpted. This is all one piece. It goes over the shoulders, and it looks like it must be glued or affixed somehow to the waistband here. But yeah, really, really nicely done. Underneath this, you've got this what looks like. And I might have to call myself a liar here and say this is possibly pleather. I'm not sure whether that is actually leather or pleather. Difficult to say. If anybody out there knows, please, I'd be interested to find out. But yeah, the stitch work is nice on this waistcoat. You've got that same nylon material there with the stripes on that matches the trousers. Underneath here, and I don't know whether the camera's picking this up, are actually the magnets for attaching the shoulder pad sections, but we'll come to that when we kit him out fully. The body itself, yeah, I mean, I would sort of say, art figures, come on, it's 2024, and a fully seamless body is not unheard of, even in third-party manufacturers. And I think this figure would benefit from it, but I knew what I was getting. Not sure how feasible a body swap would be with this plastic armour, but maybe something to look into. But yeah, it would get rid of these ugly joints having that seamless body, obviously. But yeah, you've got the standard articulation at the shoulder there and at the elbow. These are quite stiff. This, as I mentioned before, this is a brand new figure. My previous art figures, Riddick, also had exceptionally stiff joints as well. But yeah, the knees, I believe there's a double bend there. Yeah, there's a double bend at the knees there. Pegged joint for the hands. The neck is not all one fixed head sculpt. It is a removable head sculpt, but it only comes with the one. Now let's take a look at this head sculpt. Let's get this head sculpt right into shot here. Now, thoughts on this? Now, most certainly they have captured the likeness of Vin Deisel. That is absolutely a very, very good sculpt. Is it 100% on? No, but it's damn close. I'm struggling to see an angle or find an angle there where that does not look like Vin Deisel, young Vin Deisel. Yeah, I mean, even down to the slight podginess of the chin there. The paint applications are really nice. There's some 5 o'clock shadow there. We've got some more blood spatter across the face here. Maybe that cut across the length of his face could be better painted. It looks a little bit cartoony to me. I may have to touch that up with some blood effect paint. But overall, the sculpt is really, really nice. The skin texture is good. You've got the furrowed eyebrows there. There's a 5 o'clock shadow on the head there. It's not perfectly, it's not just complete skin texture. There's a hint of growth, which is screen accurate as well. What's nice to see as well is that, I mean, you could probably gone with a fixed neck head sculpt on this because there are no interchangeable heads, but what they've done is they've actually painted that blood spatter effect underneath there. So when you move the head around, it actually, there's more blood spatter under there. It does look a little bit incongruous, it coming straight down there though, because, yeah, I imagine had they painted a continuation of that line, then it would have looked probably even more incongruous when you turned the head. But Yeah, perhaps that blood spatter effect, particularly this cut here up the side of his face and head, could have been a bit better. But there's some nice vein work in there. The sculpt is good. In fact, it's very good. I'll give it a very good, that sculpt. Perhaps a little disappointed with these with the eyes and how they've created that white glow in the eyes. The promotional shots, the prototype shots of this figure, you could have been, you would have been forgiven for thinking that they maybe use some glow in the dark paint, or they'd maybe even gone as far as some kind of battery effect to give that glow to the eyes. But what we're seeing here is just a white dot in the eyes to give that sort of idea of that night vision look that he has. So yeah, maybe that's a little bit disappointing, but overall, it's a very good sculpt. It's the sculpt is excellently done. The paint applications are great, and most certainly the likeness to Vin Diesel there. I am struggling to find a bad angle there. I really am. But yeah, so that's the head sculpt. Yeah, there are a few minor issues there. Probably the biggest thing for me is this body. But at the end of the day, I knew what I was getting. As I've mentioned in previous videos, all the figures that we review on the channel are purchased with my own hard-earned cash. We're not subsidised or sponsored by any manufacturer or distributor. So I knew what I was getting here. Maybe a body swap will be in order if this armour is removable. And it's nice to see. I mean, even down to these sheaths on the thighs, on the back of the thighs here, they're all plastic. There's no pleather other than what I think maybe in this vest here. But overall, yeah, pretty impressive. So let's pop him back on the stand. So what we'll do next is we will cut to the fully armoured up and kitted out Riddick. So yeah, over to the change. Okay, so here is Riddick fully armoured up, fully tooled up, goggled, knifed up, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this is him. Pretty much how I'll be displaying him in my collection. Yeah, I've got to say I much prefer it with the armour on. It covers up a lot of those ugly joins in the body. Few things that came out of actually putting this figure together. A few niggles. Which we need to go through before we give our final thoughts on this. As you can probably see while he's spinning here, the shoulder pads themselves, the location of the magnets underneath is flush on the body, but the location of the magnets on the two armor pieces is a little bit off, so they sit in slightly different positions. Now, I'd have to really go back and go through the movie with a fine-tooth comb to see if that's screen accurate. It feels a little off to me, and finding the sweet spot for the left shoulder pad is really difficult, because I think there is a magnet underneath there, but finding it is not the easiest thing in the world. But that's a minor niggle. The overall effect is quite good. I think it plays to my OCD when one side of one shoulder pad hangs slightly lower than the other. I think those magnets aren't perhaps quite in 100% the best place, but yeah, that's a minor gripe, but it's a gripe nonetheless. As you can see at the back here, it doesn't match, but overall, very good. What else? Yeah, putting on the shin guards, relatively straightforward. The feet they're actually feet inside those boots, free floating inside those boots. So when you take the boots away, there is a chance that foot will come out, but it's simply a case of slotting the foot back in, putting the shin guard on and reattaching it. So relatively simple to apply these extra bits of armour. Just take the hands off to slot on the bicep guard and the forearm guard as well. As I say, with a bit of finagling, you can pull those down and they'll cover up those ugly wrist joints. Other minor niggles, the paint applications on that head sculpt, some of them are a little cartoony, especially that big cut. The head sculpt itself is very good, most certainly a spot-on likeness to Vin Diesel as Riddick. I would possibly consider, as I mentioned before, for our figures may have considered going with a seamless body on this one, because it really is one of those figures that will benefit from that, but it is what it is. Overall, if I was to give this a score out of 10, I would have to give it a A solid 7.5, 8, maybe. Yeah, I'd go with an 8. The minor niggles that let it down are the positioning of those magnets, which is not ideal, and obviously that body that we've talked about, and some of the paint applications, particularly on the neck and on the face, are going to probably need a little bit of touching up with some blood effect paint just to get that realism there. But overall, yeah, a solid 8 for this figure. So there you have it. That is Vin Deisel, aka Riddick, from Riddick. What are your thoughts on this? Is it a movie that you've seen? Is it a figure that you're going to be picking up? Even if it isn't, I'd like to hear what's your take on Art Studios and this figure in particular. So I suppose that about wraps it up for this review. I hope it's been useful. I suppose all that remains for me to say is, well, no, before we go on onto the all that remains for me to say section, what's coming up on the channel? Well, in the quarter scale world, we've got a lot of stuff on the horizon. We're going to be finishing our trio off of Asmus Toys retro reviews from the Hateful Eight with Daisy Domagru and John Ruth. HH model Achilles, Brad Pitt from Troy, has just landed, and that'll be going under the camera very, very soon. Also in the quarter scale world, we've got Caustic Plastics Horror of Dracula double pack on the way. Present Toys Anton Chigurh. In the quarter scale world, we've got the Prime 1 and Blitzway quarter scale statue of Paul Atreides, the still suit version. In the accessories section, we're going to be taking a look at Apex Chaos cases. They've just arrived. They're the single figure LED display boxes. And there's loads more on the horizon. We've got quarter scale, a lot of NECA quarter scale stuff coming in, a lot more retro reviews and showcases. So, as I mentioned at the top there, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon so you're not missing anything. And as I mentioned as well, we'll be having that 6 scale giveaway, and you wouldn't want to miss that, and that will be happening when we hit 1,000 subs. So, all that remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.